scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. I got the scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. I got the scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. I got the scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. I got the scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. I got the scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. I got the scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. I got the scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall.
They get the views from the UFO fairy tales and the UFO fairy tale huckstering.
Scrapings off Jim's wall.
They get the views from the UFO fairy tales and the UFO fairy tale huckstering.
Scrapings off Jim's wall.
This UFO circle jerk. 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 This UFO circle jerk.
I got scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. I got scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall. I got scrapings off Jim's wall, Jim's wall, Jim's wall, Jim's wall, Jim's wall.
This UFO circle jerk. 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 They get the views from the UFO fairy tales and the UFO fairy tale huckstering.
Scrapings off Jim's wall.
They get the views from the UFO fairy tales and the UFO fairy tale huckstering.
Scrapings off Jim's wall.
Greetings and salutations, friends. And just so everyone is aware, Ross Coulthart and Gary Nolan promised everyone that they had conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by this man. And then they cut to a shot of Michio Kaku in the promos. This was a completely and totally overhyped, over-sensationalized fake story. So fake, in fact, that they basically had to take the video off of YouTube because of the deception. YouTube has a policy against deceptive clickbait, I guess, or something. They had to take the entire documentary off of YouTube. But I still have a copy. And we still have copies of the promo, which is interesting. If you're just joining us tonight, we'll be talking about one of my favorite UFO scammers ever, Ross Coulthart, who, if you don't know about him, he's a disgraced Australian journalist. A lot of people like to say, oh, no, Stephen, he's an award-winning journalist. Yes, in Australia, he has won some awards, and he's also won the Ben Spoon Award for the most fake stories of, I think it was 2024. He won the award for generating the most fake stories of any journalist in all of Australia. So there's your award-winning journalist. Basically, Ross Coulthart is a UFO garbage peddler scumbag, and he became that because he got a lot of people say he got fired from 60 Minutes. He claims no, it was routine budget cuts, and those routine budget cuts just so happened to come right after Ross Coulthart got caught peddling the most egregiously fake story ever to air on 60 Minutes, Australia or otherwise. And in that story, Ross Coulthart accused totally innocent men of being child predators, child aurists. And his evidence was basically a crazy source that he didn't vet properly, who was there making these outrageous claims just to sue people for money. That person was later prosecuted by the British government for making these false claims and allegations against members of the British Parliament. Ross Coulthart, to this day, has still yet to apologize to those men that he accused of being a child predator, which I think says a lot about him. You know, as an investigative journalist myself, at least I consider myself such. Sometimes we do really deep investigative pieces. It's okay well, it's not okay. You got to do your very best not to make mistakes. But when you make an egregious mistake that's so terrible that you're accusing people of R-ing children in your story, and it turns out that's completely and totally fake, you would think that a normal person with a conscience, you know, would apologize to the men that he made these accusations against. No. And of course, his contract right after that story got busted as completely and totally fictitious or fake. Um, his contract was not renewed at 60 minutes. And so basically, he was fired, in my opinion. I don't think it's a coincidence, right? And because that story was so outrageously, completely and totally fake, allegedly or apparently, Ross Coulthart couldn't get a job as a reporter anywhere else. So what did he do? He jumped in to sell fake alien stories to retarded people on the internet. And it's very lucrative. Just so people are aware that it's not. It's been called a billion-dollar industry, and with good reason. I myself, through my investigations, have found that there are many people that are making millions of dollars promoting and selling these fake, often, usually evidence-free or totally fake alien and UFO stories. And Ross Coulthart is just one of those people. Now, I wanted to take a moment before we get too deep in the weeds here, just to remind people of some of his previous fake stories. And by the way, I got a message shortly before broadcast. Oh, Stephen, why are you hating on Ross Coulthart again? Why do you hate Ross Coulthart? I don't hate him. And by the way, hate is a very strong word. He does piss me off, however, because this guy's making tons and tons of money lying to people. And I think that's completely and totally wrong. So just to be clear, I don't hate the guy. I hate what he does, which is peddle a false reality, a completely and totally false reality. Tales of the Sonic Voyage is here, first to hear the call of the goal. And you were correct. That's just one of his peddled fake stories. Ross knows where the hidden giant alien spaceship is hidden. Spoiler alert, it's at Disneyland. Yeah, maybe that's what the Epcot Center building is, right? But thank you, Tales of the Sonic Voyage, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. I appreciate your kindness, generosity, and long-time show support. And thanks for being a member. Arlene Crafter says Bryce Zabel, whatever his name is just as bad for promoting Ross and giving him a legitimate platform. Yeah, well, they had a falling out, Arlene, and they're not doing a show together anymore. Listen, when somebody who's a total wackadoo UFO alien nutter like Bryce Zabel, like basically cuts ties with you and doesn't want to work with you anymore, that says a lot about how fake as shit your stories are, right? Yes, it's not hate, it's disgust. I prefer the term righteous indignation. It is righteous to hate people who are hurting people with complete lies. It's righteous to hate, to have some anger, not hatred. Like I said, hate is a very, very strong word. I have found that apathy works best for some people, right? First, you have to hate somebody, you have to care about them, right? Yeah, apathy is better sometimes. So I wanted to take a moment just to go down memory lane and remind people of some of Ross Coulthart's egregiously, completely, and totally fake stories that he has been caught peddling on numerous occasions. This is a thumbnail for one of our deep dives. There was the British Parliament PDF file ring story. That was 100% fake story. There was him claiming that they have conclusive proof of alien technology. That was a 100% fake story. There's the Area 51 reverse engineering program story. That was a 100% fake story. And of course, the Jim's Ball story was completely and totally fake. And also, Ross Coulthart is the person who brought us the Jake Barber egg story. That, I'm pretty sure we can say that was a completely and totally fake story. After all, Jake Barber, wasn't he one of the guys who claimed he had superpowers and he can summon alien spaceships, right? Yeah. That was a fake story. And there was also the story where he promoted LED flashlight. So tremendous. Oh, I don't know why I derez there for a second. He has a tremendous history. Like, I don't know, listen, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. In any other field, If you get caught selling completely and totally fake stories 3 or 4 times, your career is over. But not in UFO land, there's never any consequences. So why does this guy have a huge following and he's on all these big podcasts? I found one of the latest podcasts he's on. What is it? Area 52. That guy's a garbage peddler. Like, how do you not know? How do you host this guy and not ask him serious, hard questions about all these fake stories that he's been caught peddling? And the answer is very simple. You can't ask him because if he were ballsy enough to accept a real interview, like an interview from me, by the way, I would leave him in a puddle of his own piss and he would be crying when I got done with him. He won't do a real interview. He will only do the softball circle jerk interview where everybody just plays along and pretends he hasn't been caught selling completely and totally fake stories over and over and over and over again. But the fake stories and the fake sources, it just never ends. Just gets more grandiose. And adding to his fake stories, he knows the exact location where a giant alien spaceship is on Earth. But he can't tell us because that would endanger national security somehow, right? And I apologize to the Twitter folks. Apparently, Twitter is having some issues with live streams. I don't see the live stream. It's not on my feed, though Twitter says I am live. That's weird. I don't know that I can resolve it today, so we'll have to wait until, I resolve it tomorrow, I suppose, for tomorrow's show. I apologize to the Twitter viewers. I am getting a lot of messages, people saying they're happy that we are broadcasting on Twitter again. So you're welcome for that, and thank the big supporters here. I want to take a moment before we begin to remind everybody that we are a viewer-supported show. We read every single super chat. We thank every single person who supports us. I only want to mention that once per show, just so people are aware. How you can help and support us is in the description of the video. And if you're tired of seeing despicable, disgraceful scumbags like Ross Coulthart, just run rampant selling fake stories with nobody there to fact check them, well, here I am. And I would appreciate your support. And there's multiple ways you could support us. You could send super chats, support us on Kick, buy me a coffee, join our Patreon, become a channel member. And here's Mysterion to let you all know how you can support the broadcasts here.
Truth Seekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truth Seekers. Thank you for your generosity and support.
Okay, I'm hearing that Twitter is working fine, so I apologize then. I don't see it on my Twitter feed. I don't know. We'll revisit this a little bit later. I want to thank you all. Oh, look at that. We've got Jim Bob is here. One for the goal. Trust the scams, he says. Show the truth, get her done. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Much, much appreciated. We've got Perfect Harmony chiming in. Thank you, Stephen, for exposing all these scamming wackadoos, and praise the cash. Thank you, Perfect Harmony, who's a big show supporter and a YouTube channel member. Thank you for that as well. And look at that, Salty Pug just became a YouTube channel member. And I always say, if you become a YouTube channel member during the live broadcast, you get a big shout out and thank you. So we thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Salty Pug is our newest YouTube channel member. Get access to all those YouTube members goodies. I think there's up to 80 now members only videos on our members only section. You get a YouTube channel member badge and more. So big shout out to Salty Pug, and thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. And no, I will never apologize to Bob Lazar. Never. Never. He's a pimp. He's a pimp. Convicted pimp, fake scientist. And by the way, he's going to be making the rounds again because now there's another asshole that's making a documentary. And, you know, I'm sorry, but if you make a documentary and you leave out half the evidence of the story, then you're not a documentary film producer. You're a propaganda maker. Congratulations, you asshole. And by the way, I haven't seen this new film yet, but based on a few interviews of the guy making the film, he's a total Bob Lazar believer. Yes, Bob Lazar is a fraud. Solar Marshall is here. All right, so before we get too deep in the weeds, though, I wanted to just show you one of my favorite of Ross Coulthart's fake stories. And in this story, in the very promos that I'm about to show you, by the way, thanks to, I used Stephen Greenstreet's version of the promos because he put Gonzo floating on balloons in the promos. It makes it much, much better. But the important part is in these promos, he promised that they had conclusive proof of alien technology. And that was the big hook to sell the story. It was completely and totally fake. And this is how these assholes get away with this. They deceptively edit everything. And watching this promo, all confirmed by this man. And then they cut to a shot of Michio Kaku. I've reached out to Michio Kaku many, many times. By the way, I hear Michio Kaku is a bit of an asshole. One time, long time ago, I put together a list of like 10 people that I'd really like to interview, but that I didn't think that would say yes. Does that make sense? Anyway, he was on the list. His handler or whatever got back to me. He wanted $5,000 to do a 1-hour podcast interview. I've reached out to him many, many times asking him, did you confirm that these guys had proof of alien technology? Crickets. I guess I have to give him $5,000 to get an answer to a very simple question. But let's just check out this promo so that you can understand the kind of person that we're dealing with. He's willing to lie through his teeth just to sell a fake story and get everybody to click on it.
Can I just say, even though I'm not entirely comfortable at times with the way they sensationalize in their promos, because I thought the promos for our story were a tad over the top at times.
What you're seeing here is momentous.
You think that's alien technology?
Yes, I do.
I thought the promos for our story were a tad over the top.
We have new, conclusive proof.
Testable evidence of alien technology.
Tad over the top at times.
Is it possible to exceed the speed of light? The answer is yes.
The biggest discovery in human history.
Promos for our story were a tad over the top.
New evidence that has to be seen to be believed.
7 News Spotlight, Sunday on 7 and 7+.
Not entirely comfortable at times with the way they sensationalize in their promos, because I thought the promos for our story were a tad over the top at times.
And by the way, this is more than over-sensationalized promos. And by the way, he did the voiceover. So if he didn't want to over-sensationalize the promo, he should have said, no, I'm not reading this. No, he was all chips in. telling people they had conclusive proof of alien technology. They didn't have any proof whatsoever of alien technology. Disclosure Boner is here and says, interesting to see how they try to pull off Project Gravator. It's going to be a laugh. I tend to totally agree with you. And thank you to Xeno Scrape for the 10 pounds. Very kind, very generous of you. Thank you. So I have no idea why, but every time Ross Coulthart smiles, I can't help but see the same face as DS9's Odo. You know, you're right. He kind of looks like the guy from the Shapeshifter, right? Odo, the security shapeshifter. Yeah, he does look like him. But thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Much, much appreciated. And did I miss one? No, we're all caught up. Okay. And again, before we get too deep in the woods, I have been... I want to thank you all for indulging me, because sometimes I just use the live stream to make another video. So we're going to clip out the next portion, because the next portion is the most important thing that I want to say today. It's one thing to scam people with fake alien stories, but it's a whole nother thing to scam people with fake alien stories that directly involve people robbing graves, ripping apart dead humans, including dead babies, and gluing them back together again and pretending that they are aliens. And by the way, this latest fake alien body, you know, I kind of think he knew the Nazca mummies were dead, so he had to come up with something else. These latest fake alien bodies are completely and totally fake. And we're going to show you all the proof of that tonight from a PhD. You know, a very well-educated man when it comes to anatomy, who ripped his fake alien corpses to shreds. But I want to make sure that we put on the record, you guys know how I feel about anybody using dead people and robbing graves just to hoax alien and UFO stories. It is the most despicable thing. And every time I think that the UFO community can't get any scammier, or the people promoting these fake stories can't get any scummier, they prove me wrong. And we have to keep in mind that Ross Coulthart has a wife and children. And you know, I just wonder, like, what does he tell his wife and his daughter? Like, hey, girls, I made some great money today on a fake story, and all I had to do was sit there like an asshole and pretend I didn't know that somebody robbed graves and then glued shit together to look like an alien. Somebody desecrated human bodies in order for me to make some money for us, girls. His wife and his daughter should disown him. He should be divorced, and his daughter should disown him for doing something so ethically wrong, so morally reprehensible, so completely and totally despicable. His entire family should be ashamed of him. I'm ashamed of him. Everyone should be ashamed of him. His neighbors should be ashamed of him. His co-workers should be ashamed of him. By the way, Newsnation, great job. You guys are now in the business of promoting fake alien hoaxes that are based on people robbing graves and desecrating human beings that have been dead, in some cases for hundreds of years. Great job, Newsnation. Very credible of a news organization to greenlight a project like this. Don't you have access to some experts? Couldn't Newsnation have called in an anatomy expert before they broadcast this completely and totally fake story that we're going to detail for you tonight? It's just one of those things, friends. Okay, so my on the record comments about these latest hoaxes involving the desecration of human bodies. The grave robbing, I'm sorry, let me begin again. The grave robbing profiteers peddling the Nazca alien mummies, hoaxes, and their variants. Listen closely, because this isn't some abstract debate about fringe ideas or open-minded inquiry. This is a crime against the dead, against people's families and ancestors, against human dignity, and against every ethical principle that separates civilized people from grave-robbing ghouls. The so-called Nazca alien mummies and their variants Those three-fingered, elongated, skulled curiosities that were paraded in Mexican congressional hearings, Gaia documentaries, YouTube videos, and crowdfunding scams. They are not evidence of extraterrestrial life. They are fabricated atrocities, real human remains looted from ancient Peruvian burial sites, mutilated and glued together with modern synthetics, and sold as interstellar wonders. And at the heart of this horror are the very profiteers and promoters, so-called journalists or researchers or podcasts. They're actually media hustlers and self-proclaimed ufologists who know exactly what they're doing or choose sweetly imagine it, if your conscience can bear it, in the sacred deserts of ancient Peruvian burial sites. I'm sorry, one second. I knew I was going to screw this up. They know exactly what they're doing or choose not to care because the money and the attention flow and the clicks and views flow so sweetly. Imagine, if your conscience can bear it, in the sacred deserts near Nazca, Peru, home to one of humanity's most profound archaeological treasures. Hakeros, or tomb robbers, descend like vultures. They rip open graves that have rested undisturbed for centuries, sometimes millennia. They pull out the mummified bodies of ancient Nazca people, men and women who lived, loved, and were buried with reverence by their families. But they don't stop there. Reports and investigations reveal they also seize the tiny, fragile remains of dead babies and fetuses, innocent lives cut short before they could even draw breath in some cases. These are not abstract specimens. These are the dead children of real human beings whose ancestors still walk the earth today. The robbers hack them apart, desecrate them, and rearrange bones to create freakish three-fingered hands and feet. They stretch skulls and stitch in animal parts, bones, or modern fillers. Then the so-called experts step in, synthetic glue, careful posing, and suddenly you've got your non-human being ready for the spotlight. This is desecration on a biblical scale. Across every culture that has ever walked this planet, from the Andes to ancient Egypt, from indigenous traditions to modern faiths, the dead are or should be sacred. They represent our shared humanity, our ancestors, and our connection to history itself. To disturb a grave without rigorous scientific necessity for profit or spectacle is theft of the highest order, stealing not just objects, but the eternal rest of the departed. To mutilate a baby's body, to turn the most vulnerable among us, those who died before they could even speak, into mere props for an alien hoax, that crosses from crime into pure moral abomination. It is the ultimate betrayal of the powerless. These profiteers aren't challenging the mainstream. They're violating the most basic commandment of human decency, that is, to respect the dead. And who benefits? It is the promoters and hucksters who flood the internet with these so-called revealing videos, pack auditoriums at live events, and crowdfund so-called research. They chase fame by claiming these horrors prove non-human life. They cloak their greed in pseudoscientific jargon, carbon dating, DNA anomalies, claimed fingerprints, while real archaeologists and forensic experts from Peru's own institutions have repeatedly exposed the fraud. These are earthly bones, often looted and altered, sometimes from children whose graves were plundered precisely because the alien hoax creates demand. Every ticket sold, every view earned, every book or documentary deal signed is literal blood money, built on the desecrated corpses of human beings, including infants. This isn't harmless entertainment. It is an exploitation that directly incentivizes more looting and more desecration of human remains. As long as the grift pays, more graves will be robbed, more sacred sites destroyed, more Peruvian heritage erased forever from the sands of time. The descendants of the Nazca people watched their ancestors' bones turned into circus freaks for foreign profit. And we are supposed to call this progress. Ethically, there is no defense for promoting these scams. None. Bioethics, archaeological ethics, and simple human morality all scream the same truth. The dignity of a person does not end at death. Consent cannot be manufactured after the fact. Science demands permits, context, and respect for the dead, not black market body parts rearranged for clicks. Those who promote this hoax, including Ross Coulthart, even if they claim ignorance at first, become complicit once the evidence piles up. They chose spectacle over sanctity. They chose personal gain over the profound wrong of turning human tragedy into alien entertainment. This isn't curiosity. It's capitalism, profiting from the ultimate vulnerability, the silence of the grave. To every promoter, every believer chasing views, every opportunist who turns a blind eye to these scams, shame on you. Your actions mock the very wonder you pretend to seek. Real mysteries of ancient civilizations, of human resilience, of our place in the cosmos deserve reverence, not violation. The Nazca lines themselves are wonders enough, carved by brilliant human hands. The figures who have sold their ethics for a payday built on baby bones, dead bones, and ancestral graves. This must end. Repatriate the remains, return them to their sacred burial sites, and prosecute the looters and their enablers and every single person who profited from this scam. Let the dead rest and let history be studied with honor, not horror. Anything less is a betrayal of what it means to be human. The profiteers have profited long enough from the desecrated. The moral ledger demands accountability, and it demands it now. All right, friends, I'll get off my soapbox for the remainder of the show. Thank you for indulging me. All right, we're going to go to the video that Ross Coulthart has released, which is, listen, it wasn't 5 minutes. The video wasn't out for 5 minutes before all the debunkers, those silly debunkers that Ross Coulthart can't stand because we've ruined all of his completely and totally fake story, right? We ruined the fake stories, and we inform the public that Ross Coulthart is a scumbag and a scammer and a grifter who is intentionally selling fake stories. Listen, I'll give any researcher, I'll give any researcher the benefit of the doubt. But once you get caught selling, how many fake stories are you allowed to get caught selling before we know that you're a scammer? And I just want to put this on the record as well, because this was something funny to see. I wrote, when even the most believer-brained, retarded fan of aliens and UFOs calls out your latest story as totally fake, you've gone too far grifting, Ross Coulthart. And this is Joe Murgia, UFO Joe. He believes everything. He's kind of a moron, and I think he's a little retarded, so I generally leave him alone. You can't blame the guy. He's a little retarded. He writes, this really hurts the credibility of ufology, as if ufology had any credibility to begin with, but okay. This is a random assortment of animal bones. Just about any archaeologist with any faunal knowledge or an anthropologist can easily identify. What am I supposed to think about the vetting for other stories? Can it be trusted? No, you can't trust anyone. Pete says, Ross is going for gold. Not easy competing with Brazilian aliens or Corbell's crappy, blurry, leaked videos. Ross has nothing left, so he may as well make up as much fake shit as he can. His groupie fans don't seem to mind. It's pretty stupid. And I wanted to also mention that we have I think it's a 10-hour deep dive is in the description of this video or podcast you are watching right now. And this, people get mad at me sometimes for some of those deep dives. Like, come on, Steven, how am I supposed to sit through 10 hours of this deep dive takedown into all of Ross Coulthart's fake stories? Listen, it takes 10 hours to explain and unravel all the layers of deception and deceit that Ross Coulthart uses to create his fake stories. There's deceptive editing, there's fake sources, there's evidence-free storytellers, there's no fact-checking. It takes a while, but I'm here to tell you that if somebody can make a 10-hour-long video about all the fake stories that you've been caught selling, then you're a piece of shit. You are a piece of shit, Ross Coulthart. You are a piece of shit. And of course, Ross Coulthart claims he knows where a giant UFO is buried, but he can't tell us, right? Ha ha! Can't tell us about that. Trolly Troll Troll is here with one for the gold. Wow, good for Trolly Troll Troll. He was buying some land, I think, right? Woohoo! I just found out our offer was accepted. Truth or consequences, here I come. Land of beautiful blue elephant butt, lake, and palm trees. I don't know where you bought land, where they have blue elephant butt, lake, and palm, whatever. Good for you, and thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Thanks for being a big show supporter, long-time show supporter, and a channel member. Thank you, Trolly Troll Troll. And we've got Railroad Bum here. I haven't seen you in a while, Railroad Bum. Do you know I played you and your son's song on the Internet Insanity Circus show? Railroad Bum, thank you for your kindness and for being a member. Says, greetings, Stephen. I seriously despise Rush Coulthart, so I am glad you are felting him emphatically. Best wishes to you and your family. And right back at you. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. Okay, so Ross Coulthart's, we're just going to, let me put my fair use banner up. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public. Newsnation, you're a media company. You know what fair use is. I'm going to be doing commentary. We're going to be talking about this video with my live audience. This is clearly a transformative work. You see the animated background. You see me here, the man in the box. I'll be talking about this. We'll be sharing comments on the screen from the live chat. You can put them in all capital letters if you want me to share them on the screen while we're sharing this video. You, the audience members, you can help me make it a transformative work, and we appreciate that. So let's get into the video. And the video is titled, New Pictures of 400-Year-Old Alien Skeletons Allegedly Found Underneath a Church. And of course, just put the word allegedly in there and you have no responsibility. It's not your fault if the story turns out to be completely and totally fake. By the way, this one got completely debunked in record time. Literally 5 minutes after the pictures of the so-called alien skeletons appeared on the screen, there was already anatomical experts calling bullshit on Ross Coulthart. So here's another one for you, you asshole. How many fake stories am I going to catch you selling, you Australian asshole? And by the way, somebody said we should call ICE on him. I don't know about that. He probably has a work visa, right? But if not, deport him. Deport him. Deport him to his home country. Let him sell fake stories in Australia. We've got enough people selling fake alien stories in the United States. Deport him. Call ICE. I agree. This guy gets me fired up. I really dislike, I don't want to use the word hate. I really dislike this asshole. Go back to Australia, you asshole. Stop flooding the internet full of fake shit. And you gotta love, the show's called Reality Check. Didn't it used to be called Need to Know? Oh no, that was the show with Bryce Zabel. Bryce Zabel fired him too, just like 60 Minutes, right? Allegedly. No, I don't know. His contract wasn't renewed with 60 Minutes, and I guess his contract wasn't renewed with Bryce Zabel. He's grifting with Richard Dolan now on that show. He changed out Richard Dolan for Ross Coulthart. You gotta love it's called Reality Check. Hey, asshole, you need a reality check, you stupid Australian ass. Why didn't you get an anatomy expert to look at these pictures before you look like a dumbass showing completely and totally fake alien skeletons on a public live stream? And why do you have a job with Newsnation? When are they going to fire you for you're promoting grave robbing? Newsnation is promoting grave robbing. And by the way, I don't usually do this, but I'm going to. I'm calling Newsnation. I'm going to find out who his direct supervisor is. And I want to, on the record, comment from Newsnation, why are you allowing one of your employees to promote grave robbing and the desecration of human remains? Is that not a fireable offense when you work for a news organization? Ross Coulthart is literally promoting the desecration of human bodies. He's literally promoting people who rob graves and rip apart their bones and then further, desecrate them by putting an alien skull on the top. How disrespectful, Newsnation, for you to allow this despicable, disgusting asshole, who, by the way, has been caught selling many, many, many more fake alien stories, many of which you paid him to do that, Newsnation. We're going to want an on-the-record comment from Newsnation. Do they condone and support one of their reporters actively and emphatically promoting grave robbing and the desecration of human remains just to sell a fake alien story? I want an on-the-record comment, Newsnation.
Well, g'day and welcome back.
Good day. Go back to Australia. Good day.
To Reality Check. I'm your host, Ross Coulthart, and I can tell you to...
Yeah, I'm going to call Newsnation because Ross Coulthart needs a reality check. There's some things that you shouldn't be allowed to do as an employee, and one of them is promote robbing graves.
Today, we have a story that I think is absolutely mind-blowing, if true.
Well, it's completely and totally fake, so it's not mind-blowing at all. It's just you scamming the public again. How many times are we going to catch you scamming the public, Ross Coulthart? It's time to get a real job, you slob. And if it was up to me, you know what he would be doing? He would be reporting at a local news station on stupid things like mall openings, right? I think that's about the only thing that Ross Coulthart will be good at as a so-called journalist.
It's quite extraordinary, and I don't get the credit for digging this one up. The person who deserves the credit most of all are the two gentlemen that are joining us now, T.W. Mock.
Yes, two people promoting grave robbing. Congratulations, you have guests on your show that are actively promoting robbing graves. Great job, Ross. Great job.
A billionaire businessman, a huge success story in American military logistics, and former Special Forces veteran, Chad Robichaud. Guys, thank you so much for joining Reality Check.
That makes it even worse. Former military man. How would this former military man like it if I dug up any of his friends that died in combat and ripped apart their bodies and put together a fake alien skeleton out of his dead friends' remains? I mean, if he's okay with doing it to these dead people, then he should be okay with me doing it to his friends and his fallen comrades, right? Just incredible.
Both of you.
Thanks for having us on, Ross.
Thank you, sir.
I'll give you first a bit of a background on who TW is. TW Mock is a prominent American entrepreneur and chief executive known for building a massive empire in global logistics, private intelligence, disaster recovery, and supply chain operations.
Yeah, in other words, he's a war profiteer. Okay, great. Thanks, Ross. Thanks for letting us know that.
A great rags to riches story. Mock, TW, you launched your career in general.
By the way, if this guy's got $1 billion, he can't shell out a few $100s to an anatomy expert before he rushes to the internet to sell a fake alien skeleton. And by the way, we're going to show you the breakdown. This whole story is 100% completely and totally provably fake.
Construction, and you moved across into military logistics, arriving in Iraq with just $25,000, no government contracts, zero backing. You lived out of a shipping container near Camp Victory, which I've suffered many times myself, and I didn't envy you when I read about that.
And you basically became driven by a mantra that you cite in your interview with Chad from General Robert Barrow that defined the philosophy: if you control the supply lines.
Yeah, when you don't have real evidence, talk up the people that are promoting the hoax. Great, okay.
You control the outcome. And because of this, you've become known as the god of war, because you've won conflicts and crises, or helped win those conflicts and crises, without ever pulling a trigger. The other thing I really want to give a hand to here is your great work in supporting veterans via the Resilient Project, which is very much a project led by Chad, and partnering with groups like Mighty Oaks Foundation. I can't think and I can't emphasize more strongly of the importance.
Okay, the guy does charity work. Does that excuse grave robbing?
Of supporting our veterans. They come out of war, we take it for granted, and the real battle begins when they come home. Now, TW, your company, your main company, is Tactical Advanced Deployment.
And by the way, Ross Coulthart once took a job to discredit a war criminal and attack journalists who exposed a war criminal. That's another despicable, disgusting thing that Ross Coulthart did. This guy is Ross Coulthart is just a complete and total piece of shit of a human being.
It's your flagship firm, specializes in large loss disaster recovery, maritime logistics, oil and gas, and shadow economy. And it operates in 10 plus countries across 5 continents. And you've also founded Orion Global Intel and Technology, providing on the ground.
All right, we're going to pass forward to where they get to the part of the story about the alien mummies or whatever. So,
like to know?
I would think the Epstein files are dangerous. So, look, I think the population, global population, has been misled from misinformation for so long that I think everybody is extremely tired of just being
money and greed will do that.
And quite frankly, the truth gives you the path to open the doors to make a better decision, more informed decision. But subsequently, this wouldn't, in my opinion, this wouldn't rock a faith of anybody. I think if this were to rock your faith in any way, then you really weren't a true believer in the first place. So I kind of take it with a grain of salt. But look, there's so many other things out there in the world right now that are going on, that are geopolitically, that have a global instability perception to it, that it gets the masses. I mean, but how would you control the masses?
Notice that this whole story is clickbait out the wazoo. New photos of aliens. He's talking about Epstein. What does that have to do with the photos of alien bodies?
To some degree. Fear is typically how that's done. So, sure. And divide and conquer. Look, I'm not, it's way above my pay grade. I don't know where that's going with anything.
By the way, why is Ross Coulthart always on a set that looks like a hotel? Does he live in a hotel?
Other than the fact that what I do know is,
I'm pretty sure his family doesn't want him living with them, probably.
What I've been involved in, what I've seen, and how I feel about it. And subsequently, I think if every rational human being approaches it the same way, I think they'll have the same outcome, in my opinion. Do I think they're going to get a little bit spun up and a little bit out over this? Absolutely.
And we don't know where these things come from, right? At TW, just because you found it, you seen it, you touched it, but we don't know the origin of where it came from. We don't know if
it came from a human grave, you asshole. It's a human skeleton with animal bones added. They made a fake alien skull out of animal bones.
If it is extraterrestrial or it's pre-diluvial, like, we just don't know this. I mean, look at the ocean.
Pre-diluvial means before the flood. A lot of people think that Nephilim skulls and giant skulls and things like that are possible. I haven't seen evidence that supports that.
I don't know the numbers on it, but we probably only discovered, a small fraction percentage of what exists on this planet. So we just don't know a lot of things. But
so let's go.
Yeah, they couldn't go to a billionaire, couldn't afford to hire an anatomy expert to look at these things and make a determination of whether they were human, desecrated human bones or an alien. He couldn't hire somebody, Mr. Billionaire.
Through the TW.
You know why? Because if he did hire somebody, there'd be no story to sell.
The first thing I've got to do is project, I think, a degree.
And I heard I'm getting attacked on Twitter. Oh, why would a billionaire be scamming people with fake alien bones for money? He's a billionaire. Well, maybe he's just retarded. I don't know. I don't know what motivates. Some people aren't motivated by money. They're motivated by a desire for spotlight or fame.
Skepticism, because obviously I've just come back from Peru, and I've been looking at the so-called tridactyls, and
he's right in there to make money off the tridactyl scam too, which was completely and totally busted as a hoax multiple times. Ross never came across a hoax that he couldn't make some money out of. It just shows his greed and his insatiable desire to market over sensationalized fake stories for profit, no matter what the cost, including the cost of human dignity in this case. This is too much, Ross. You've gone too far scamming. When you're just okay with human babies being ripped apart and glued back together again so you can make some money, then you are a piece of shit.
Counter and pro arguments about the tridactyls, and I'm going to be presenting a story about that shortly, as to whether or not they are authentic objects, authentic beings. The implications of that investigation, though, are that there's going to be a high degree of public skepticism that these are constructed objects.
They're Bigfoot hoaxers as well, these guys.
Maybe the cartels trying to make money, maybe trying to lure some naive investor to extract millions of dollars. Maybe they've created fake skeletons, fake beings. What do you say to that? Is there a possibility that this is an elaborate hoax?
Existed after the flood.
The floods. I've been a skeptic most of my life.
Started to kill them all.
This. I would say that I was a skeptic up until August of 22. I am no longer a skeptic. I know what I was engaged with. I know what I saw. I know that wasn't human-like. None of the situations were, none of the objects, and really it's trust but verify. The information kind of led you down a different road. Now, do I think that a lot of folks, we'll call them folks, I won't name the cartel out directly, but I would say that do I think that there's been a lot of manipulation of information? Yes. Do I think that there's a lot of misinformation? Absolutely.
Yeah, and here you are putting out misinformation because these fake alien skeletons that you're about to show everyone are completely and totally human remains and animal bones. They're not extraterrestrial. They're not aliens. They're not unknown creatures.
Do I think the world continuously gravitates around the possibilities? Of course. I think it's rationable to think that in today's stage and in today's environment, that with all of the encounters that we've had around the world, I'd go from Central South America to include the UK, to include Europe, to include the Middle East. There's too many coincidences right now, and I'm not a firm believer.
Coincidence is not proof.
In coincidence.
So TW, talk me through. I mean, you actually.
Oh, one moment here. Thanks to Chad Wellington, who heard the call of the goal. Chad Wellington's a big show supporter, always throwing a couple bucks in our hat, and thank you for this. Ross Coulthart, Newsnation's #1 grave hustler, named best in the business for 2026. That is correct, Chad Wellington, and we thank you for your kindness, generosity, and big support tonight. Let's hit that goal tonight, friends. We haven't hit a goal here in quite a while, but we thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. And I'm going to go check in with the Kick Live chat as well. For those unaware, we have a Kick channel, and we get an extra paycheck every month. And we love that. Kick lets creators keep most of their money. If it was my decision solely to make, I would only broadcast on Kick and nowhere else. But we've been trying Kick-only shows, and it's a lot harder to get YouTube people over there than you would quite imagine. We want to take a moment to thank Winter Soldier, who subscribed, and Winter Soldier, who gifted one gifted sub over on Kick. We thank Winter Soldier for their kindness, generosity, and support of the show. One moment here. I'm going to try to get to the activity feed. Yes. Okay. We're all caught up on the Kick side. So thank you, Kick viewers, and thanks to all supporters. So now this guy's going to walk us through the alien skeletons, alleged alien skeletons.
You were on the ground personally, weren't you? Which I find incredibly exciting. And I envy you, Chad, that you're going to be getting there on the ground to actually see this for yourself in some future occasion. I want to know what it was like. I mean, what was that moment like when you first describe it to me? Take me through the first moment you saw what you believe are alien remains.
It's interesting. I'll back this up a little bit because this is, I returned home, I want to say 3 to 4 days before my 20-year vow renewal with my wife, which was interesting because I remember my mental capacity at that time was absolutely strained on the ground
Yeah, well, could that have something to do with the fact that you're seeing aliens in regular human bones and desecrated animal bones?
In Mexico. But subsequently, when the engagement happened, I questioned. I remember this vividly in my head, and just simply saying, "What am I looking at?" Because I couldn't even comprehend it. It was one of these things where I'm a realist at the end of the day, and I was trying to make sense of what I was seeing, and I didn't believe that,
my pleasure,
this asset could be in this particular location, and why haven't they until now? Why haven't they? What am I doing there? All the things, right? It's way above my pay grade. I knew that I had outpunted the coverage, as they say, on this one.
Okay, so we've got an image that we've put up here of what appear to be 2 skeletal remains.
Yes, so take very careful note of these skeletal, it's called skeletal. How is he a journalist and he can't say the word skeletal? He says skeletal, what? What did he say?
Two skeletal remains.
Skeletal? It's skeletal.
They're clearly not human.
Clearly not human. Clearly not human. That's what Ross Coulthart said. We're going to show you just how human they are. Chad Wellington with another one for the goal. Thank you, Chad Wellington. Ross Coulthart allegedly wants you to know that necrophilia is birth control. Damn, YouTube censorship is bad. Yeah, necrophilia is birth control. That's gross. That is gross. But we thank you for your kindness, generosity, and continued support of the show. Let's get some more super chats, friends. Let's hit that goal tonight. We might actually hit a goal. We're at 8 of 20. We need 12 more kind and generous friends to throw a super chat our way of 5 or more, and then we will finally hit a goal for once. I don't think we've hit a goal in weeks, but maybe I'm being too ambitious in the goal. You know, I kind of feel like if Darkside Phil can ask for $150 to play children's games badly and yell at his audience, you know, I should get around the same, but I don't know. What are you going to do? And I'm not even asking for that. I think the goal tonight is $100 in super chats. So, and let's get some gifted memberships, right? And before we get some gifted memberships, I should remind you that you should smash that subscribe button right now. Because if people gift memberships, you could win a free gifted membership tonight. But in order to do that, you must be a YouTube channel member. Or excuse me, you must be a subscriber. And then when people gift these free memberships, you could win one. So Ross Coulthart says that these skeletons are clearly not human. Where are their hands? They don't have hands?
If we believe what you've been told about these remains, they date right back to the 1600s.
And there's no radiocarbon dating data shown to support that from an independent researcher or laboratory. This is just a claim. They're 1,600-year-old alien mummies, alien skeletons.
Correct.
Talk me.
And look at this. Friends, an orbital, I just want to put on the record one thing. Maybe I can see it better. I don't know if we will zoom in. But I just want to put one thing on the record. I'm not an anatomy expert, but I do know this. Orbital sockets are smooth. They're not jagged. These are cut. These eye holes are cut. There's even tool marks indicating that these were cut into this so-called skeleton, alien skeleton. Orbital sockets are not jagged, and they certainly don't show tool marks cutting them out. That is evidence of manufactured fakery, fraudery, and hoaxery.
Through what we're looking at here, they appear to be non-human. Talk me through what you're looking at.
Oh, before it's clearly not human. Now they appear to be non-human.
I'll move back to the original carving stone. That was one of the first objects that was identified.
And we don't get to see the carving stone that he's about to describe. It's just a part of the story, I guess.
And that particular stone had a reference of two skeletal looking beings, and one was stabbing the other on this stone. And then that stone was actually date stamped back in the 1632-34 range. Then that leads me to the skeletal remains that were found secondarily.
By the way, you notice that these are not intact skeletons. More evidence of fakery and fraud. Somebody had to place these bones together down on, a table or something. How did they know what bones went where? Who knows what an alien skeleton looks like? I don't know, Ross. Pretty deep in the bullshit on this one, buddy.
And then you put that, and I go back to this because it was carved in stone. It resembles the artifacts that I found as skeletal remains, and then subsequently,
can we see this carving? No, sorry, just part of the story.
Anyway, I was trying to process all of the information as it came together, and subsequently that led me to a place of saying, well, this isn't us. This isn't human. This isn't. This didn't even date back. The Mayans were basically carving something at that time, or the indigenous on the ground at that.
And again, no scientific data to support the claims being made.
At that time, basically put something in stone. And there were a bunch of other artifacts like that as well, but this one particularly, as it referenced the skeletal remains versus the object in the stone. It was actually kind of.
Why would somebody carve two skeletons, strange looking skeletons, attacking each other? I don't get it. Wouldn't they, if they were alive, not be skeletons? Are we talking about like zombie alien mummies now?
I want to put this. It was mildly concerning. That's probably a good way to put it.
Mildly concerning. I can imagine it was a huge.
I thought was super compelling as TW breaks down the history of this. This wasn't just bones like found in a pile of rubble. This was the locals, when these crashes, the story goes in the 1600s, they had these crashes. All these.
The story goes. Is there any proof of the story? No, just the story.
Anomalies begin to happen. The locals built churches on top of the crash sites, thinking that their religious buildings would protect them, and so these buildings have been there for hundreds of years. And so when they begin the excavation, they didn't just start digging in some dirt that someone could have threw some manufactured skeletons in. They had to bust through concrete and get into a cave system.
Oh, that's the prover maneuver. Couldn't be that somebody just planted these things. No, couldn't be.
For
We're going to show you the proof.
So if this was some kind of hoax, it would have been a hoax that was in hundreds of years in the making.
It would have been a production, for sure. Yes.
Yeah, couldn't be a hoax, guys. We're going to show you just what a hoax this is in a moment. So everybody loves that gotcha moment. It's coming, friends. Just have some patience here.
We'll
do a few more minutes of this.
The skeletons, TW, were they buried in soil or were they just lying in a sarcophagus? How were they presented?
They were actually in a cave system underneath that church that Chad referenced. And you can look at the original photo of the unearthing of the entrance into the cave system. You can see where they actually concreted over that original entrance to kind of encapsulate that moment. But inside of the cave system was a natural cavern system, and that's where the artifacts were found, was in the cave system itself.
Okay. Well, could there be multiple entrances to one cave? Just because they close off one section of a cave. Dave 7244, who's a member, hearing the call of the goal. And he says Ross Coulthart appears as a BBC political presenter. Makes him seem legit. It's all part of the act. Will fool a lot of people. Yeah, just like calling him an award-winning journalist. Like, listen, just because a journalist wins awards for good stories early in his career doesn't mean that they're not turning into the dark side and pumping out completely and totally fake stories over and over again. But thank you, Dave, for kindness, generosity, and support. That's £5 and one for the goal. And we are now at 9 of 20, so almost halfway to the goal. You know what Darkside Phil says. It gets easier after we get halfway there, friends, right? So we'll do a few more minutes of this, and then I'm going to show you the definitive debunk of these fake as shit, fake alien skeletons.
The thing that fascinates me about all of this is I've been briefed privately by people aware of the legacy program who say one of the things that worries them most about us keeping this secret is that the Chinese particularly are stealing the march on us. They're actually getting ahead of us on this, which is a huge worry. Frankly, if anyone's going to have access to this technology and this knowledge, I want it to be the US. I couldn't think of a more important thing for the United States to be in control of technology and knowledge rather than authoritarian repressive regimes like Russia or China. TW, as I understand it, the background to this is that in the briefing that you were given,
he was given a briefing
to Mexico,
yeah.
You were told by, I think it's a JPL, Joint Propulsion Laboratories cover organization.
That's right. Trust me, bro.
Zero Gravity. You were told in the briefing that the Chinese had got there first and taken remains previously. Can you talk me through that, please, sir?
That was the actuating notification.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Chinese Communist Party has better things to do. Perfect harmony, getting us halfway there. Saying praise the cash, praise the cash. Hallelujah. Thank you, Perfect Harmony, and thank you for being a member and your continuing support. Perfect Harmony has been a big supporter lately. Thank you for appreciating us. We certainly appreciate you. And thank you for your kind support. And God bless you and all of our supporters. Okay, yeah. Why? I've never heard of crashes from the 1600s myself.
When that came in, China had actually obtained one of the assets.
The assets.
And the technology.
You mean the fake alien skeleton? And by the way, if this guy is a billionaire and he really believes this, then he might be retarded. That's the only explanation I could think of.
Technology in Mexico, and then subsequently had taken that back to China, and that's what expedited this particular mission set. That it became a priority. Still to this day, I still question why the United States wasn't directly engaged with this from a governmental perspective versus going into a contractor environment and then stepping down. I mean, to me, that was very odd. And even Newsom even asked me the same question. Where's the United States? And the governmental agents in Mexico were asking, where's the United States? And I said, you have better access to them than I do at this point when it comes to this. Feel free to give them a call and ask them. So, I was just...
Where is the United States? Maybe the United States is a little busy with Iran and all that stuff. Boy, that's popping off. By the way, the protests have started again. And lots of explosions all over Iran for the last, week or more. And if you are interested, a few people have asked me to do this. We don't do geopolitical stuff but there's a channel called 2C TV, an Iranian gentleman who is the best reporter on this current situation going on with Israel, Iran, and the United States conflict. I highly recommend his channel. He certainly doesn't need help from me. I think the guy's got 500,000 or 1 million subscribers. He does an incredible job breaking it all down and showing videos from inside Iran from Starlink. People who have Starlinks are getting videos out of the new protests.
Volleying back and forth, but was put in the hot seat directly and put in the hot seat as soon as I hit the ground in Mexico to navigate those conversations.
Anime Chris is correct. Anime Chris with 1 for the goal. He's a YouTube channel member and a big show supporter, and we thank him for his kindness, generosity, and big support of the show. Always throwing a couple bucks in our hat, keeping us honest here. Anime Chris says the Chinese are going to get the aliens tech. Quick, fund my bullshit so I can get to them before China gets to the others. That is correct. Thank you, Anime Chris. Good point, right? Like, come on, man. There's always got to be, that or we got to beat the Chinese to this technology. So fund my research, right?
So, but to be really clear about this, it's quite clear the Chinese knew about this. And I understand from the excellent interview that Chad's done for the Resilient Show, as I understand it.
The Resilient Show, more like the retarded show. How do you after doing this, we're going to show you all the proof that these things are totally not alien and a complete and total hoax. How do you do this hoax and then not, have shame and never show your face on the internet again? This guy should be all three of these clowns should be completely embarrassed. They should be banished from the internet. And I'm not one to stomp all over free speech, but if you get caught promoting a hoax involving the desecration of human bodies and you're so stupid or gullible or profit-driven hoaxing kind of person, you don't deserve internet access. Banish them, I say, banish them all!
There's been a relationship between the Chinese and, incredible as it may sound, these reptilian beings. Historically, this has been going on for some time. I'm going to say something here that I understand the contact with the current Chinese government was first made during the period of Mao Zedong under the communist regime. So they've been allegedly, I don't know this for sure, allegedly dealing with these reptilian beings since the period of Mao Zedong, of communism. What do you know about that, sir? What were you told in your briefing?
I was told that
I was told that to a modem, bitch.
Subsequently, it was Russia and China that subsequently were of the reptilian end of the house, and if you will, and subsequently they were opposing the Anunnaki, which was supporting the United States program, looking for peace, and that was the briefing in a synopsis.
Right, I don't think we're going to waste any more time. These people are despicable. They should all be ashamed of themselves, all three of them, given to me, especially Ross. Ross is a repeat offender with these completely and totally fake stories.
Subsequently, the matter of national security, and this is where things get interesting, because if it is a matter of national security, I shouldn't have been there, is the way that I looked at it at that point. But subsequently,
it's totally secret.
Needed to get classified. They need to contain that situation, and subsequently they needed verification that it existed. I think they questioned whether or not that it was real in some fashion.
Yeah, and to close off with this video, I would just like to say, all three of these people, am I allowed to go dig up your dead relatives and then add like a llama skull on top that I cut eye holes in to make it look like an alien? Because I need to make some sweet, sweet alien money. So maybe if you guys are okay with this scam, then they should be fine with me digging up their great-grandparents and ripping their dead bodies apart and gluing them back together and look like an alien so I can make some money. And of course, I'm not condoning anybody do that. We've heard my comments on the desecration of human beings. I would never do that. But I've asked every person from Jimmy Church to Jesse Michaels to Christina Gomer, whatever her name is, that dumb bitch, right? I've asked every one of these people that promoted this shit if they'd be okay with somebody digging up their dead relatives and gluing their body parts back together wrong to make it look like an alien so that they could make some money. If they're okay with other people's dead relatives being ripped apart, desecrated, and completely and totally disrespected, then they should be okay. They shouldn't be able to say anything if somebody digs up their dead relatives and does the same. Because this is where we're at. This is how despicable and disgusting and scummy this gets. Ross Coulthart is now a leading promoter of grave-robbing ghouls desecrating human beings so that he can make $1. Shame on you, Ross. Shame on you. This is just despicable, totally disgusting. But luckily, there are some good people that will step up, do the right thing, and tell people the truth. And so I did not know this person previous to this story, but we want to give him a big shout out. I think this is how you say it, Galaxopithecus. And he is a biological anthropologist and a PhD. And here's how you know that he's going to be telling us the truth. He's not a skeptic. In his Twitter bio, he says, interested in UAP, UFO, remote viewing, consciousness, and psi. So I guess the guy is, open-minded. And by the way, I tried to get him to be a guest here, but he had previous commitments for the next couple of weeks, we wouldn't have been able. Maybe we'll get them later down the road if there's still interest in this story. But I appreciate that he gave me some valuable information and is okay with me sharing what he found. Now, again, this is something that Ross Coulthart. So Ross Coulthart, you didn't do your job. I'm going to do it for you. You lazy, disgusting, despicable scumbag clown. You have an entire news organization behind you, and I can find a guy on Twitter to debunk this in 5 minutes, but you can't? And a few people have asked me, why didn't Ross Coulthart just get like a guy like this? A guy who is a biological anthropologist, PhD, very, very, intelligent, well-educated expert, an expert. Why didn't he get an expert to look at these? Because if he did, there'd be no story to air, right? There's no story in, oh, this is a hoax created from dead, desecrated bodies. There's no story in that. There's story in an alien skeleton, though. You get lots of clicks for that. So Galathopithecus says Ross Coulthart on Reality Check for Newsnation reports on alleged alien skeletons. He says, I'd love for these to be real, the real deal, Ross. But yet again, we're dealing with a hoax. The sort of thing that could be avoided if someone with anatomical knowledge were consulted. Yes, preferably before you air the story. But Ross didn't do that. And there's only, I think it's intentional. He knew that if he gets an anatomy expert to look at these things, there would be no story to sell. So he just didn't do it. And it's not that he's lazy. This is intentional deception and hoaxing. Galaxopithecus says, I provide pro bono consultation to various local law enforcement, distinguishing human from animal bones. I'd do the same for you. Just ask. In some ways, these hoaxes are worse than the Nazca mummies simply because they're more lazy. These reptilians are just an assemblage of animal bones placed in approximate locations to sort of look like a skeleton, making no sense biomechanically. This is a trivial debunk, honestly. So here is his summary. These skeletons are constructed from animal limb bones, mostly using you'll have to forgive me, I'm not a doctor, metapodials, tibias, and radi. None of the joints are functional, as they are all a functional mismatch of joint surfaces. The bones in the central areas are animal lumbar vertebrae. Their dorsal backsides facing forward, so they're put together all wrong. The pelvis on each specimen is an animal sacrum, part of the pelvis, also dorsal facing forward in the images. There are no hip or shoulder joints, you may notice, just tibias placed near the sacrum, I guess, to suggest a skeleton. The skull is an animal skull with holes cut to resemble eye sockets and nostril holes. The cuts show very sharp edges, not a natural appearance. See the reply for more images. So here we have this anatomical expert, an anthropologist, identifying that these skeletons are made from animal bones, tibia, blue arrows, metapodials, orange arrows, radius. And let's go further here. These are more. Horse tibia. So they're using horse bones, I suppose. Various animal spine elements and sacrum, sheep sacrum provided as a reference. Cervical vertebrae, bone identification, ventral dorsal, reptilian skeleton hoax, upper limb bones are various animal metapodials, red arrows, and a radius, homologous to human metacarpals and metatarsals. A sheep is shown in comparison on the right. So pretty convincing debunk. Yeah. Extraordinary allegations from T.M. Mock, the man described as America's god of war. Great. A couple more images. And here's a few more. Animal bones. sacrum. Great. Yeah. So let me go, and this person, Galactopithecus, also did more debunking, but besides that, he also did an alien skeleton of his own. We're going to share this tab. I want to announce the birth of Dan Jr. He's assembled from some random animal bones I have around in my office. He hasn't made with the exact same bones as the recent reptilian alien skeletons covered by Newsnation. But then again, those aren't all made the same either. I didn't want to destroy my deer skull, so I just covered the part with a piece of paper. If I were getting serious, I could saw off pieces to make it less recognizable and more alien. Anyway, here's my points. Placing a bunch of bones on a table in a configuration that suggests a skeleton is easy to do. I can assemble some that are closer color and condition match. Maybe make the limb proportions different, but this is just what I had handy. All that's missing are grandiose claims or a colorful story for context, but this doesn't resemble any real skeleton once you strip away the pretense. Anyway, that's Dan Jr., the alien skeleton from my office. He has long legs, so I imagine him hopping around at night, scaring the hell out of people. So that's how easy it is to put together a fake alien skeleton. And that should be concerning, right? Is it really that easy to put together a hoax like this? Yeah, apparently it is. And, it's what's really unfortunate is that this will only continue. It's only going to get worse. Okay, and we have one more to share with you. More alien bones debunking. The linked video appears to be a skull from one of the alien reptilian skeletons featured on Newsnation by Ross Coulthart recently on Reality Check. Apparently, these skeletons have been debunked previously. I just want to point out a couple of the features evident on the lower jaw. The lower jaw is actually the back of an animal skull, maybe the back of the same skull in the video, since the back has clearly been cut off. The red arrow shows a cranial feature called the external auditory meatus, which is a mouthful, but is basically a whole, the whole sound passes through for hearing. It's basilar conduit of the ox connects the skull to the spine. Boy, that's a mouthful. Obviously, those features have no place in a lower jaw. So here is what they did. They cut apart an animal skull. They used the lower jaw is the back of the actual animal skull. And he found this video, which is a supposed alien bodies presented by Ross were investigated by Latin American researchers and found to be complete and total hoaxes. So great job doing your research before you ran with this story. And I'm going to have to read the subtitles because this person is not speaking English. Well, look at what, man, and believe me, I've been offered an unimaginable amount of these figures that if you look at them in profile like this, with these very long skulls, supposedly they seem to be extraterrestrial beings. There's nothing on Earth that looks like this. But look, I haven't bought any of them. This one was given to me. It was left at the museum. I want to explain a few things to you because there's a ton of fakes on the market. First, if you look at the teeth, they don't set the jaws at all. And second, those aren't natural teeth. They're resin. We're already off to a bad start. Second, if you look back here, it's very clear with magnifying glasses that I use for mystics. See around here, if it were bone, it would have porosity. All bone has porosity. This isn't bone, it's resin. And that's why it doesn't have porosity. And another thing that's really important to me is their eyes. If you look at the mold they used to make this piece, the eyes are terribly cut. I mean, they have sharp edges. Cracks, I mean. Whoever made this cut, because you can clearly see it was cut, you can see it on the inside surface, and you can see the imperfections in the cut. It's obvious that someone made that hole, but it's not a normal hole. If you grab any skull that has eye sockets, you'll see that the bone is perfect. In this case, It's absolutely cut. So, in conclusion, this is an absolutely fake piece. There's a ton of fakes on the market, and for those that are offered, don't fall for it. Pay attention to the things I'm pointing out, and if you want, even listen to that sound. Look, this is not the sound a bone makes. Take care. So, completely and totally, these were already debunked before Ross even transmitted the story. Isn't that great? Already debunked, right? The porosity thing is actually interesting. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. All right. We'll catch up with the super chats. Thank you. Amber Gannon with one for the goal says, "Felt this MF for Steven. Praise the cash." I would have dropped the F bomb, but I'm not sure how many times I cursed so far in this broadcast. We got to keep it. We got to keep the monetization on so I get my YouTube ad pennies, Amber Gannon. But Amber Gannon is a big show supporter. She is a YouTube channel member and a big asset to our channel here, going over to Felt David Wilcock every time he does a live stream, trolling him hard. We thank you and appreciate you. Thanks for appreciating us, and praise the cash. Thank you, Amber Gannon. And we've got Troll. Butte is pronounced butte like a beauty. It's like a small mountain. If you say so, I don't know what that means, but thank you, Troll, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. Interesting. Somebody just found me on YouTube Music, of all things. I didn't even know I still had songs on YouTube Music, but I guess I do. But thank you, Troll, for your kindness, generosity, and support. I have a little more time to share with you. We're running ahead of schedule for once, running a little light. We try to keep the shows to about 2 hours. People don't like them too much longer. I get hate mail. I am not sure if cracks disprove skull, because the actual ones have expectantly old, but it's made out of resin. Yeah, that's an odd coincidence. If it's made out of resin, it's not a real skull. It was made from a mold, because these people, right? Someone will design a functional alien and print bones, then use mortar gypsum to fashion bones. Could be, you know. Can't let a little thing like it already being debunked get in the way of a good scam or grift. Yeah, exactly. So I'll take some comments and questions from the live chat. Please put them in all capital letters. I'll check back in with the Kick Chat, see if we have any support to call out over there. Also, want to remind viewers that of a few things. There is... Normally, I just read this or, verbally say it. But if you're listening to the audio podcast land, you're missing half the fun. Come on over to YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm going to remind people how they can support us by coming and subscribing and all that stuff.
Thanks for being here. This is Truth Seekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like, and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truth Seekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truth Seekers. Truth Seekers. Truth Seekers.
All right, friends. And I suppose there is good news that I forgot about, which is that Ross Coulthart's stories are getting debunked faster and faster. The longer he's here, the more desperate he is to sell a fake story and get those sweet clicks and views. Yeah, there's only 49 likes and there's 95 in the chat. So please don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. You'll know when we're doing a live broadcast. You are most welcome. Hit the notification bell. You get a notice on your phone or whatever, and you can come here and be a part of it. Amber Gannon reminding people to smash that like button, share, and subscribe. And Perfect Harmony says, don't forget to hit the like button like you would hit David Wilcox's face. That is correct. So comments and questions for me, please put them in all capital letters, right? Yeah, you would think the government would shut this kind of stuff down. Yeah, AI is alien tech coming soon to a grifter near you. Yeah, I'm surprised there hasn't been more hoaxes since the rise of these AI, especially video tools. I mean, there is, but not as many as I thought. I thought there was going to be a deluge of them, right? I really thought so. Yeah. So comments or questions for me, please put them in all capital letters. We're going to call this one a quick one. Anime Chris with one for the goal. We're still inching towards that goal. 14 of 20. 6 to go. We almost made it. God damn it. And here I am with a short show where we almost, on a night we almost made it. But thank you, Anime Chris, who is a member and a Big Show supporter, says, smash that like button and don't be a brokey. Instead, praise the cash. That is correct. And Sam Court, thank you, Anime Chris. Big support from Anime Chris tonight. Oh, come on, God of all gods. Everybody knows what I think of that guy. He's a scumbag. Go to our free documentary section. There's a whole documentary about him and Birdface and me just destroying them and all their fake shit, right? Me just destroying them and all their fake shit. They're fake as shit. Yes, I did see the arrest of Prince Andrew, and that's something else. That's pretty historic. I guess nobody really is above the law as long as people demand that these people are, are punished for 20 plus years. It's been 20 plus years, right? That guy's a scumbag. And look at that. We've got Perfect Harmony with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Truth Seekers memberships. That's how we like it, friends. And remember earlier I said you got to hit the subscribe button because when a kind and generous soul like Perfect Harmony gifts these Truth Seekers memberships, you could win one. And Perfect Harmony has been gifting a lot of memberships lately, free memberships for people so that they can check out our members only section. I think there's 80 videos right now in the members only section, and I'm going to be adding a few more this month before the end of the month. So be sure to smash that subscribe button because when these free gifted memberships come in, they get randomly distributed to people in the live chat who are subscribers but not yet YouTube channel members. So you could win a free channel membership, but you must be a subscriber. Smash that subscribe button. And thank you, Perfect Harmony. God bless you. We appreciate you. Thanks for appreciating us. And we've got Urban Terror with 1 for the goal. Cheers to another grift buster. That is correct. Cheers to another grift buster. So questions or comments for me? That's right, grift on. Andrew is the first royal in 400 years to be arrested. Yeah, he was arrested and instantly released, but that's going to be a hell of a court case. I wonder if they're going to televise that, right? Yeah, and here we go. The only person that gifted memberships tonight was Perfect Harmony. So if you just got notified that you got a free gifted membership, it came from Perfect Harmony. So you can thank Perfect Harmony in the live chat. The heart of the personal story says, thank you so much to whoever gifted me a membership. I love you. I love you. I love you. A lot of love in the live chat tonight. And I'm glad to see that, right? And we are at 16 of 20. 16 of 20 for the goal. We might actually hit it if I can stretch out time long enough like Darkside Phil. Maria Love the show. Keep up the great work. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. One for the goal. A big one. We thank you for that, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Much, much appreciated. All of you supporters. And I have a special thank you for some of you people. I found, we've got some pretty old bumpers, right? I've got some praise the cash bumpers. Or, yeah, you know what? Maybe we can get some support if I show some character work. For those unaware, we often do characters like Linda Moulton Howdy Doody. We haven't seen a Linda Moulton Howdy Doody bit in a while. Let's see if we can get 4 more subs while this plays. 4 more YouTube super chats of 5 or more so we can hit the goal tonight. Don't you want to see confetti in the live chat? Linda Moulton Howdy Doody is one of my other all-time favorite scammers. We busted her selling fake alien pictures, not once, but twice, right? Something else, right? And my character for Linda Moulton Howdy Doody is one of my favorites. Let's check it out, friends, and let's get 4 more. Let's hit the goal tonight.
Hello. Welcome, friends. I'm Linda Moulton Howdy Doody, and this is my pretty pussy. Isn't my pussy pretty? I have the prettiest pussy. Yes, I do. My pussy is awesome. Isn't my pussy awesome? Look at my pussy. Wait a minute. Hey, this pussy is dead. Mr. Producer, get me a new pussy. This is a dead pussy. Nobody likes dead pussy. Jeez. Let me fix that light over here. That's maybe better. Oh, it's the wire in the way. There we go. Somebody better get me a new pussy. This is a dead pussy, and nobody likes dead. Anyway, we have a very special show for you tonight. Tonight I will be discussing my new whistleblowing insiders who are telling me some fantastic fairy tales, stories about the spaceships under the ice in Antarctica. Yeah, did you know? They're spaceships, friends. They're spaceships under the ice in Antarctica. Yes, there is. 1 second. Okay. Oh, I really need to get my hair done, but this pandemic has been terrible. Okay, friends, so I've got some new insiders. His name is Spartan27, and he emailed me all of the proof that the aliens are under Antarctica. Yeah. Can you believe it, friends? This thing has been called a hall of mirrors with a quicksand floor. UFOs and aliens, sure, it's mysterious, right? And strange. Oh, how strange it is, friends. So, wow. Today we're going to be covering some fantastic stories from my new source, Spartan27. Or was it 28? I forget. Every time I need new fake stories, I just invent a new Spartan guy. Yeah, it's a great business. I sell fairy tales. And make sure you buy my new book, Bedtime Fake Fairy Tale Alien Stories by Linda Moulton Howe. It'll be available at Amazon and all booksellers so that I can make enough money to buy some new pussies. Because my pussy is dead, okay? And I need a new pussy. Yeah. All right, friends. So, what can I say? I got this new intel from my government insider, even though I didn't check that he ever worked for the government. Why would I do that? It might mess up a good story I could sell. So Spartan27, or let's just call him Spartan28. I can't remember. All right, it's Spartan28 sent me this email, quote, there are spaceships under Antarctica trapped in the ice, but since the ice is melting, the aliens are slowly waking up, unquote. Ooh, friends, the aliens are waking up, and maybe we'll be able to prove the existence of extraterrestrial biological entities. Wouldn't that be great? Now, friends, I gotta tell you another quote from Spartan Guy, okay, my fake source. Quote, the aliens are slowly waking up, and the U.S. government is sending dispatch teams to intercept the waking aliens. End quote. Ooh, I have quotes. Yeah, I like quotes, right? Quotes are good. Okay, friends, so you gotta admit that this is a great story, and we have proof, right? We have an insider whistleblower. Well, my friends, it's a great story, and the government is covering it up. Now, a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure the government is covering it up. Well, that didn't help with the support. It probably won't help with monetization. I forgot how many times I said the P word during that bit. You gotta love it. Linda Moulton, howdy doody. By the way, I do have some characters that I made the masks and got costumes for that I never did. We just kind of get sidetracked with those comedic parodies sometimes. So, yeah, maybe we'll get some more video game cover disclosure. That's right. Linda Moulton House sold a video game cover for a game called Alien. I don't know. No, it was called Area 51 for Xbox. The government is covering her up. Yeah. Yeah, what just happened? Well, we were sharing a bit from our comedic parody shows. So I guess let me check in with the Kick Live chat. Winter Soldier sent a hell yeah, one kick. Man, we're making money on Kick 1 penny at a time. Come on, man. Let me pop out the activity feed, see if we got any more pennies. The guys on Kick love to throw pennies at me. And they think I'm going to read out their penny support. Come on, guys. I'm not reading out pennies. Winter Soldier did gift a sub and become a sub, so I'll make an exception for Winter Soldier, but nobody else, right? No, it's Linda Moulton Howe. Look up Linda Moulton Howe. We caught her so many times. Here she is doubling down. I'll play this bit too. Here she is doubling down after we caught her selling completely fake pictures of aliens.
Personally, I think this is a strengthening education about what all has happened around this, what was just going to be the first photo of a orange-gray hand and a head. The head is still a question mark, even in Earthfile Support's mind. He's very analytical and very critical. And he did a side-by-side comparison in which it is very true that the eye pattern in the, we'll call it the alleged real photo versus the 3D created head, the eyes do not match. And you can do an examination and make a comparison and you will see that. But that does not mean that there isn't a real extraterrestrial, sort of orangish gray being or civilization or species that looks exactly like that photo, and as Buddy pointed out, that's counter intel.
Yeah, it's counter intel. We caught her selling completely and totally fake pictures of aliens. We found the artist who generated those fake pictures. It was for a fictional blog series about like the Men in Black. Completely busted her. Yes, that's right, busted, right? Completely busted her. Yeah, that voice. I love how she is scientifically analyzing how she got dupes. Yeah, she totally doubled down. You know, these grifters, even when they're 100% busted, they still don't give up the scam. And by the way, all of her monetized views for the completely and totally 2 fake stories of selling fake pictures of aliens, one of them was a video game cover, one of them was this other one. They're still up on YouTube generating revenue for her, right? Yeah, so dumb, says WatchSick. You are correct. It is so dumb, right? It is so dumb. I don't understand. I don't understand how people like, you know, people like her make so much money, you know? Like, man, sometimes I think I probably should have been a grifter. I would have cleaned up, right? Like, imagine if all I did was grift instead of exposing the truth. I just created. and having a background as a stage magician probably would mean I could make some pretty awesome hoaxes. We still want to do that Grift Month idea where we will put out hoaxes, but then show people what we did to generate the hoaxes, right? They all have fake insiders. Yes, Archaic Revival's just getting here. Can I get you anything? Like a fucking watch, right? Still glad you're here. But what if the game is like The Last Starfighter and you play it to get transported to the space battles and it's real? A likely story, right? She tightly controls her chat. Yeah, they have to live in echo chambers. They can't have people asking questions because that ruins the scam. That Ashiana chick has to be the queen of BS so far. She makes Linda Moulton Howe and Kerry look like beginners. Yeah, pretty mind-blowing listening to her. I probably thought out a good explanation better than she did. Yeah, Griff Month 2026 will be epic. I gotta generate more hoaxes though. I got a bunch of them on my Google Drive. I made Bigfoot photos, Bigfoot videos. I made a bunch of UFO videos, right? Yeah, you can't question anything or they'll throw you out. That's what happens. They'll throw you right out. Well, listen, I think we've done our due diligence. We'll call it a quick one tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No place I would rather be. But that's all I got for you. We want to thank you, kind and generous benefactors, you YouTube super chatters, super stickers. Hey, super thanks. Did you know even if you're watching a replay, you could drop a couple bucks in our hat? I thank via a text reply every single person that sends a super thanks. We read and thank every super chat. We read PayPal pledges. If you buy me a coffee or beer during a live broadcast, we thank people for that. If you become a Kick subscriber or if you give some subs or send some kicks on Kick, we thank every single supporter that we have here. I'm just checking in with the PayPal, nothing on Buy Me a Coffee, and we're all caught up on calling out and thanking the support. Also, I just wanted to mention that this Internet Insanity Circus show that we did 4 episodes for, I've already given those 4 episodes to the Patreon supporters and to the YouTube channel members unredacted and unedited and completely raw, the way that they were broadcast. But I've been trying to get them to clear through YouTube's terrible copyright claiming system. And I've gotten the first one through with no age restriction. The second one, they're age restricting it, I guess because of all the videos of the hot dancing girls, but they're fully clothed. It's kind of ridiculous. So I got to take the second episode and try to cut out some or all of the hot dancing girls and then re-upload it and see if they'll accept it then. I don't know. But anyway, this Sunday night, I'm going to be broadcasting on our YouTube channel here the first episode of the Internet Insanity Circus show. If you haven't seen that, it's just a wild and crazy show with costumes and puppets and masks and all kinds of craziness. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly encourage you to tune in this Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I've got the first one through the YouTube censor logs. I don't know, censorship situation. They didn't age. I don't know why they didn't age restrict the first one, but they age restricted the second one. I have to download the second one, which we've already had to cut out a big portion of because of copyright claims and things like that. Even though it's clearly fair use, I really don't want to fight with people over fair use. Yes, Ray Gunner says Internet Insanity Circus is worth a watch. Well, here's an announcement. I tried so very hard to promote that first run of 4 episodes. I tried to get co-hosts, some of which flaked out and some of which did show up, but I don't know. I'm going to do 4 more episodes of the Internet Insanity Circus, but most likely I'll be doing those solo as a sole show host. I really think that show needs a co-host, but finding somebody good that I kind of get along with and will show up and do what they need to do, especially because the show's making almost no money. I think we made a few $100s for the 4 episodes. By the way, I'm not complaining about that. just stating a fact. So it's hard for me to get a good co-host. I don't want to say, hey, show up and, maybe you'll make $25 or $40 for a 3-hour, 4-hour show. I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to be producing 4 more episodes, but to promote those episodes, we're going to try to get, even if it is a cut down, very censored version of the original show. If I got to cut out dancing girls, if I have to cut out the stuff that is getting it flagged for adult content, if I have to cut out copyrighted, people are copywriting stuff like body cam footage. Like, it's police body cam footage. You don't own it. You're not allowed to copyright claim that, but people are. So I end up having to cut out, 6 segments that are 2 minutes each or something, and it takes YouTube forever to do that. A co-host might slow the show down. Yeah. And I've got a lot of new stuff, new noisemakers and stuff for the show. I'm kind of clown on that show. It's a circus show, so we're getting ready for a new circus. And I've even got on the new shows, I can choke my chicken, right? It's kind of ridiculous. I've got 4 costumes ready to do 4 new episodes, but I have to generate the content that we're going to be commenting over and stuff like that. I have about 1 more episode ready, maybe 2, because there were some things that we just skipped from the first 4 episodes. Like the last show was terribly not well attended. We had very little people show up to see it, so I didn't want to do an extra hour for a very, very small audience, right? Does my link show on Kick? I keep getting "you're not allowed" message. I'll have to make you a moderator over there. You may be able to use the clown horn for a lot of people you cover. That is correct. So anyway, this Sunday night, 7 p.m., the YouTube world premiere of the censored version of the Internet Insanity Circus show. And I'm going to keep trying to get those other. Apparently, the Internet Insanity Circus episodes got crazier and more adult as time went on, because I'm having a real hard problem with the later episodes. The first one, it's fine. I had to cut one big section out of it, or a couple, for copyright claim reasons. But, so when you're watching the show this Sunday, if you see a jump cut that doesn't make sense, it's because YouTube made me cut a portion of it out to get it through the censorship system here. You can get into YouTube jail and not know what you did. That is correct. The episodes got better as time went on. Well, wait till you see episodes 4, 5, and 6. My wife and I were talking about it, and I mentioned a few of the segments that I have, and she was horrified. She was like, "Oh my God, you can't do a segment like that." We have a stinky pussy segment. Oh God, I said the P word again. We're getting totally demonetized for this stream. But anyway, we've done our due diligence. I'm going to bounce on out of here. I want to thank all of you kind and generous supporters. I'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No place I would rather be. Tonight I'm going to spend editing hot girls out of a show. Why do I have to edit hot bitches out of a show that's supposed to have hot bitches? Right? It's kind of part of the show. YouTube. I'm not allowed to have hot girls dancing. They're fully clothed. It's not like they're naked. Anyway, that's all I got for you, friends. Good night, and God bless all of you.
UFO circle jerker extraordinaire. All of you UFO circle jerks are now on the table. UFO circle jerker extraordinaire. All of you UFO circle jerks are now on the table. They're there to help the grifters advertise their fake nonsense. That's their function. They're there to help the grifters advertise their fake nonsense. That's their function. That's what they're there to do. 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 Matt says. advertise their fake nonsense. That's their function. They're there to help the grifters advertise their fake nonsense. That's their function. They're there to help the grifters advertise their fake nonsense. That's their function. They're there to help the grifters advertise their fake nonsense. That's their function.
Thank you for everything you've done and for risking your life to bring this story.
Thank you.